today's Featured Friday card is something that I was kind of debating on whether or not to share. For many of my Featured Fridays, I've been featuring World's Promos cards, and I wasn't sure if maybe I should just kind of back off and start focusing on some other different types of cards, or if I should just kind of keep up with, the really rare cards that I'm adding to my collection. And so after a few weeks, I finally just decided that this card is just too cool not to have a video dedicated to it. So, here we go with a quarter-finalist Tropical Beach. This is from Worlds 2011. So they did print another Tropical Beach for Worlds 2012, this past Worlds, with some different artwork, but the stadium itself is the same. What's really cool about this card is it's extremely playable. Once during each player's turn, the player may draw cards until he or she has 7 cards in his or her hand. If they do that, they end their turn. Now, this may not seem that amazing, overpowered, or anything like that, but what many of you may not realize is that this card is great for decks that really need the time to set up. So I fell in love with this card last season, around Cities or so, when I was playing Chandelure Vileplume, and pretty much you could use Chandelure's ability as your, to put damage counters on your opponent in any way you like, or, as well as use the beach. But the beach is really just helpful for getting, your initial hands. You're probably going to be burning a lot of resources to try and get, some of your basics out onto the board, and you may not necessarily have the Juniper, something to shuffle back in, or, just draw a lot more cards to be able to get the rare candy and the stage 2 evolution that you need. That's where Tropical Beach comes in. Now that we have Skyla, we can use Skyla to actually search out stadiums. That's really going to make sure that you can get that stadium out turn 1 and be able to use it to make sure that you get your stage 2 set up as soon as possible. So its popularity really grew, its popularity took off with the Truth decks. Ross ran it in his Worlds deck back in Worlds 2011. Worked out really well for him, and then we saw it take off again with the Chandelure Vileplume decks around Cities, and now we're seeing it take off again with Keldeo Blastoise decks. And really, there's just so many good reasons for that. Again, just helps you really get set up for that stage 2. I lost my top 2 match because of Tropical Beach. I late gamed end him to get a crucial knockout, and would have had the next knockout for the game on the next turn, had he not, sacrificed a turn and sacrificed a Pokemon to use Beach to be able to draw into the catcher for the win. So this is really a great game, even, primarily it's for setup during the beginning. However, it can also be a huge benefit to late game ends to get you out of a tricky situation, especially if you want to maintain a good prize lead. Now, what's really cool about this particular card is that I haven't really been focusing on what this actual card is. I've just been kind of focusing on what it does. But there's lots of other prints of this card that don't make it nearly as special. This one, however, is the quarter-finalist card. So only 48 of these, I believe the number's 48, exist, which makes it a really amazing card to have in my collection. I purchased this from Jeremy Jalen, a really awesome Pokemon player down in Arizona. He may have a Pokemon YouTube channel. I'm actually really not sure. But I was actually contacted through a PokeTuber to see if I was interested in purchasing this card. And this purchase, he gave me I'd say a pretty good deal on it, and in turn helped fund his trip to a Cities marathon, where I don't know if it was at that Cities marathon or if it was just kind of his accumulation of cities so far. He won 3 first place trophies. So I kind of feel cool that my purchase of this card, not only did I get a really cool card out of it, but buying it kind of helped fund his road to victory. So really awesome, and this is just a really cool looking card. This is probably one that I am never going to touch as far as play with. I have the staff in the normal version, so I'll stick to playing with those rather than breaking this out of its seal. So you can see the artwork on it, really cool. We'll see if we can zoom in a little bit there. We've got the 3 starting Pokemon, Oshawott, Tepig, and Snivy. And then what I really like is you see a Psyduck in the background. I understand the starters, and you see Pikachu around all the time, but Psyduck So Psyduck's actually made his way onto quite a few Worlds promos, so I have a feeling he'll probably be coming back not too, maybe a year or two, probably the next Hawaii Worlds Championship, we'll see Psyduck again. So hope you guys enjoyed today's Featured Friday card. Definitely stay tuned for next Friday, and I'll feature something else that's pretty cool.